Hi everyone, it's Robert again, and today I will be demonstrating my Phase 1 project for ASP.NET class that I am taking at RenTech. So let's go ahead. I have here the requirements for the project, and today we will be demonstrating basic HTML, JavaScript, and some classic ASP. So in the first part, in order for us to earn a C, we needed to create a home page and a few others and link some cascading style sheets to it. And in order to earn a B, we will be creating a user form with some elements that we are requiring the user to fill out, and we'll be using client-side scripting to validate their information before we can process the information to another page. And we're going to mimic a round trip to the server to process the data, and then come back on the response page if you want to say and report back to the user that his information was submitted and showing the information that he did submit. For the last for an A, we're going to be demonstrating the ability for us to go out and look at JavaScript on the internet and be able to learn from it and incorporate it into our own website. So with that, let's go ahead and open Visual Studio. Today I'm using Visual Studio 2013 and Internet Explorer 11. So let's go ahead and open up my home page. I'm working off the comp SI, and I created a child folder that I'm going to be working off of today. So firstly, I'm incorporating a Bootstrap into my website today. And I looked around the website, and there was a lot, but not a lot of them had very good documentation. So I ended up using the one from w3schools.com because they had really good documentation. When I used it, I was required to download or include these 4 tags here to be able to get it to work. One was the meta tag, which is for the mobile devices. It renders a web page to be viewed correctly on a mobile device. This is the CSS on their website that I will be using today, along with the Bootstrap functions, calling to a jQuery there. And because they had documentation, I was able to use some of their classes from the CSS and manipulate what I needed it to do in order to get it working effectively. And they do use classes. I also like to use classes over IDs. Unless I need to grab a particular element from the form, I would use an ID. IDs you are only unique. You can only use it once on a page versus classes. You could use it multiple places. So you can use a class on this UL tag with this nav and another nav tabs, and you can use it for other areas that you want to style, So it's user preference. If you know how, depends how you want to use it. So let's take a look. Run this website, home page, and we'll view in the browser. And here's my website that I created. It models after my theme here. So firstly, the CSS that's working right here on the navigation in the background is from here. As you can see, I'm hovering over it, and that's what's working on the background, changing the element styles. When I click on it, this is the Bootstrap with the jQuery working on. That's populating. That's dropping the drop-down list here. And also I have one over here also, and you can see that it's working. And also with the JavaScript and the Bootstrap here, every time I click on a tab, it highlights it, and I know which place in this website I'm at. One thing I did not like about it was when I tried to click on one of these drop downs, it did not highlight this. Only if I dropped it down, the one I clicked last would be highlighted. And that's the thing about using external stuff. Code that's not yours is you cannot modify it unless you copy their code down locally, or let's say you called it externally. Sometimes their server goes down, so you have a half a web page, or an instance. I was like when I used to work in a data center, the data center got locked down, and it was because we couldn't get out to the internet, and all my web services was not running correctly. So it depends how you like things. In this example, I was not able to figure out how to change the color to red because they didn't have it. And when I tried to look at their CSS, it was just way too much information. It's not garbage, but it wasn't formatted in a very nice way to look at. Just to show you what example. So that's what it looked like, and I didn't have time to go scouring through this code to change it. So my original theme was red and black, so I changed it to blue and black here. So every page will have this block of code there, and that way when I move across from page to page, I will have the same look and feel of going in. And if I need to make a change or anything, if I had changes it, or this is one I created personally, but if I had to make a change to it, then it would get reflected across all pages. So let's just take a look at one that I did, and I'm renaming it and going to call this the home page, and see how without my CSS applied, this is what it looks like. Let's go ahead and fix that, and this time we'll go ahead and make it so that we cannot get to their website, and let's see what the changes are on there, how that looks like. So see, their navigation gets back to the unordered list here. So, okay. Okay, so that's what it looks like with the CSS applied both on mine, the one I created, and the one that's external. And I'll show you the one that I created here. That's mine, that I added extra stuff that I want to make the look and feel a little bit different or more than what was done on the navigation alone itself. And for my theme, there was a lot of techniques to use, but I decided to use the very basic one to show. Using this technique, I'd have to, in order to get the same navigation, I have to copy this chunk of code on every single page. There's other ways of doing it, so I didn't have to there. We could have called ASP pages or something. I did something right here where, let's take a look, where you can use server.execute to call another page and create all your navigations dynamically and use it one time instead of creating it multiple times. I was going to do that, but I decided not to. I just want to stick with the basic to show you how hard is it. I had to create all these pages and using the same copying and pasting all this, where there's other ways of doing it, but this is not what I'm demonstrating here. Next phase we'll probably be using the new stuff, which is master pages, which is really cool. You only have to make changes to one content, and it gets reflected. All the other pages will get inherits from it, but we won't demonstrate that today. Just trying to show you the other stuff here. So we're going to show you the B stuff. So I created a subscription here. Well, actually, let me show you the JavaScript here real quick. So you have it over, and I was able to pull like this. I was able to use your class to disable this button here. From that, and because W3 schools had a good documentation, I was able to use this class to disable it. It's not disabled, but it's just the name of the class, and it just made it so it's not rendered. For the B portion, I added a subscription page where a user will be filling out a form to subscribe to, and we were going to validate the information using client-side scripting, and that's what it looks like when the information is filled out. It's letting the user know that they need to fill out this information before we can let them process the data. And again, it'll show you the particular items. Full name, not, and then we can add some more data. So let me show you the code for that. This one's subscription. And on my form, you will see here I'm using a method post and action calling to the page that I want to call to after it's successfully posted. And I'm going to be using off this submit button here the on-click event, and it's going to call to my client-side scripting function. And I put that into another file here. And that's my validation for the user form. It's going to loop. It's going to set some variables at the beginning, and that loops through the elements. For this one, it'll be a radio button. If it's successful, it would set its variable to equal nothing. Same way with the text box. Eventually, when it gets down to here, it's going to concatenate all the variables together. If it's nothing, then that user successfully added the correct data. If there was not, it will shoot back to us, return a false, and ask the user to enter more data. So that's the client-side JavaScripting that I incorporated for the user form. Let's go ahead and submit this. And once the user fills out everything correctly, the page will do a post, and it's going to do a round trip to the server, takes the data in a response object, sends it to the server to get processed, and then returns it in a request object, where we are using that request object to get the data and passing it back to the next page and reporting it to the user. That's the answer, and you can see we went to the answer page correctly. And here we're demonstrating the use of the server-side coding here between this block of code. We're using the response object to write out the data from the request object here, and we're using the name that was passed in the tag elements that we named in the previous page, and that's how we're able to retrieve the data back and report back to the user. User can see their information, and if it was incorrect, they can go back and resubmit another one. That takes care of that one. So for the third one, the A portion, okay, so we were supposed to go out and look for JavaScript, and basically what we're trying to do here is get used to going out to the website, looking at JavaScript coding, and see what's being used, and seeing if we can incorporate it into our website. And that's a way of learning, is being able to look at other people's code, because sometimes you can only learn so much, and you can always learn more reading other people's examples and stuff. So this one's just taking their JavaScript and taking and making thumbnails and hovering it over to a full text image, full image on the left nav here. I took that for here, and it asked. I took this off the website. I forgot which website it was, but I had to include all these script tags, the CSS from it, or I downloaded it and then added it to my site here. And it looks like they're using a jQuery, another I think CDT, some sort of context display from Google engine that they host. And then that's a div where it just displays the information back here on the window. Yep. So there is my ASP.NET phase 1. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm excited, waiting for the next